Hi, this is a Curvy 3D tutorial where I'll be showing you how I made parts of this Mephit, this minor fire elemental. I sketched him in Curvy and then rendered him out in Blender. To draw most of the shapes, I'm not going to use any sculpting, I'm just going to use the sketch-based drawing tools, mostly lathes. But first I'm going to load a side image to give me a template of where I'm drawing. Then I can trace over the shapes with lathes. So the first lathe I'm going to draw is for the torso. I'm just going to zoom in on the side so I can see where I'm drawing. Pick the lathe tool, and then I draw him in with three curves: front curve, back curve, and then in the front view I draw his side shape. And I make that symmetrical with lathe symmetry. And now we have a basic torso shape. I use the same trick for the arms, the head, the legs, making them all out of separate parts, so they're simple and easy to edit. For the head, I know that it's going to be slightly more complicated because of the nose coming out of it, so I drew it as three separate shapes. And then I'm going to group them together and turn them into a single mesh using Voxel Merge. So I select all three, press Ctrl G to group. So I've grouped these three parts of the head, and then I'm going to use Mesh Voxel Merge Group, which will turn them into a single skin. I just need to hide the original objects. And now I can smooth the skin with S, ready for sculpting. This has got quite a sort of stylized shape, so I just need to give him an eyebrow and a cheek and a little bit of definition to the nose. Give him like a gargoyle-like expression. When sculpting, you can use the right mouse button to sort of do the opposite, so I can subtract from the shape instead of adding. And there's the finished sculpt. I wanted to add some detail all over the body, but I didn't want to go in and do sculpting everywhere. So I'm just going to use a displacement map or a curvy map to add the rest of the detail. The wing shape I drew as two objects. I drew as a line object for the top of the wing where it's thicker, and then a loft object for the flat body of the wing. So I'm drawing the line. I change radius B to change the end radius so it tapers off. And now I'm right clicking on the curve and copying it because I want the same curve to be part of the flat part of the wing. So now with a loft, I'm going to draw the general direction of the loft first. Then I'm going to paste the curve from the clipboard. And then I'm going to clone that pasted curve. And now we have three curves which define the shape of a loft, which we can use to make the wing. Now here we are adding the curvy map to the arm. I'm just using a sort of slightly rippled looking map to add some noise to the arm. There it is in the texture view. To see the detail, I'm increasing the resolution and right click on the curvy map slider to change the size of the effect to something a bit more delicate. If I copy that shape, I can paste its material properties, object properties or material, to get this sort of same noise all over the surface of my monster. For the face, I needed to add some more UVs because I did a voxel merge and it lost its UVs. So I'm going to add perspective UVs, and then it's ready to have the noise texture put on again. So again with the curvy map, picking that noisy texture and then reducing the size of the effect to 0.01 gives me sort of a bit more detail on that shape very cheaply. So one more part I'd like to show you is where I've drawn his claws and his toes. I've drawn the entire toe with a line object, and once again changing the radius A and B to make it taper off. But then I wanted to split this into two parts, the finger and the claw separately. So I'm going to duplicate this object with Control D, and now I'm going to use the curve scissors tool, trim tool, to cut the object into two halves, or trim each of my duplicates, the finger and the claw separate. To get the claw cut off, I need to use several cuts, because it always cuts off the shorter part of the curve. So I need to trim it off several times until I get the claw separate, and then I can adjust the radius to make that look more natural, and add again the noise to the skin to make it look rougher. Again, we increase the resolution and decrease the effect of the curvy map to make that more delicate. And that's his fingers done. I can duplicate those to make all the different copies I need. And there's our little monster ready for exporting into Blender for rendering. And then I did a final post effects in GIMP to add the fire and the smoke. You can try all of this out on the free Curvy 3D trial from curvy3d.com.